breeze blowing, storm clouds moving in. Whatever's gonna happen, it's about to begin. I remember what the drunk donkey told me when he said, son, don't fear. Mike's where the page life is about to appear. Then he's gonna tell you about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you which way it's going, and if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news that they try to hide. Just click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Well, there'll always be some haters, but they don't understand that Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells your friend Mike, he's your man. And he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here at Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide.
All right, there's our Friday night intro. No place else I'd rather be than talking tropics with y'all. Talking about y'all. I can't even remember how we pronounce it. Anyway, y'all. Y'all. We're talking about potential y'all. I ain't making it up. That's how I interpret the pronunciation from the National Hurricane Center. All right, so we had Louie this morning. We normally don't show the dogs at night, but I figured, what the heck, man? We're going to say hi just for a few seconds. And then we're going to talk all tropics. Try to make about 30 minutes. I'm going to jump right into it. A lot of people anxious about our potential Gulf system, which is okay. Right, buddy? So this is our daily brew. We do it every morning, all year long. A little bit more when there's tropics. I am not a official source of information. If you're worried, if you think I hype, if anything I share scares, then please refer to National Hurricane Center and National Weather Service. Because I show a lot of stuff. Sometimes if it's confusing, then people get a little worked up sometimes. A lot sometimes. So, hey, Mr. Fred. What's up, Alexis? Could be a hurricane. We're talking about a possible hurricane. What's up, Miss Bobby? Nothing's official. But, man, I was talking to my good friend Tammy from OSR. She's on her way to Michigan with those tornadoes last night, and I'm like, I still believe I'm professional sometimes, but I can't put a post out that isn't backed by models, and say, oh, we're going to have a major hurricane when there's no models showing it. So at this point, we're trusting the models, and I'm going to show you all the models. And then we'll talk about what ifs, because right now there's not anything out there except speculation. Right, Hunter? What do you think on Friday night? You want some beer? We're going to our favorite place, Tampa Bay Brewing Company, for dinner. They got the best calzones on the planet and the best beer here in Tampa. So let's go into it. We're going to be live tomorrow at 9:19 Eastern. We'll do our normal live. We'll do a little bit more hellos. So I'm not being rude. I just want to get right into it, okay? Everybody's got places to go and things to drink. Here's the map. All right, we got all kinds of crap out here. We got yellow, orange, this, that, is that. So we're not going to worry about any of this stuff. This is Old Emily. This is 92. This is something new. None of this is really showing up. Franklin's going to zigzag around Bermuda and maybe miss Newfoundland, and maybe not affect anybody. Invest 93 is going to follow Franklin out of here. So the question is, I kind of made the cone a little better there. I didn't mean to draw it through Tampa, except Tampa should be watching very close. So this is Invest 93 now. This is what they just designated. Now it's an Invest. Now we have spaghetti models. They have an estimated center. So now we have a center. All right, so I sense a lot of panic. I sense a lot of, at this point, this isn't a major hurricane. This isn't anything right now. So, we're talking about a lot of possibilities, a lot of days away. Florida is going to be dealing with Tuesday, Wednesday, more than likely. Today's Friday. So you have plenty of time, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, it's going to skirt the East Coast. I saw my buddy Fred. It's going to skirt the East Coast. Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. It should be long gone by Thursday night, at least Friday for sure. So it's going to be here quick and gone. Real quick. I just want to show you the latest spaghetti models on Franklin because we have a lot of people watching Bermuda. You might get some winds midweek. This thing might be just close enough that you're going to feel it skirt by. Nothing direct. And then again, the latest spaghetti models are keeping it off of our Canadian friends up that way. So there you go. Look at good confidence. Here is Invest 93. All right. Bubbling away. So bottom line is this. This area of low pressure is expected to hang out in the Yucatan for like 2 days, maybe 3 days. You can't tell me that nothing's going to happen in 2 or 3 days unless it parks over land maybe. But I put a post out that I'm just really curious the next 2 days what we're going to see developing. It's going to take time. Tropics take time. But it's sitting in the warmest. Now, I'm not hyping anything. Trust me. None of the models are showing a major hurricane. Take that for what it's worth. Right there. Boom. But I just am going to be glued to the satellites in the next 2 days. We already see spin. Right here. Look right there. Look at that. It's not forming yet. But, clear spin right there. You can see it. So I got all this updated on the website. We got spaghetti models starting to run. All your satellites. Weather Nerd satellite. We also have a floater satellite. This one right here is Storm Satellite Page. This is a great addition this year. And you have all these at your fingertips that you can look at. So they're updated all the time. High resolution satellite. So, put on my old Windy app here just before we went live, and I was a little surprised, to tell you the truth. We do have spin. Now, it's very broad. That's exactly where that satellite was that I just showed, right here. Oh, map moved a little bit. Let's zoom in a little bit right here. Right there off the Yucatan, you can see it. You can see the winds coming up. You can see the winds going down. A lot of convection up here. There's not really a lot of wind shear down there. I mean, there is, but not a lot. So we're going to get into all that. But that's what we're watching. And again, if you look at the windy map, boom, there you go. So it's kind of got a center. That's 850, 700 showing up a little bit. Even 500 showing up a little bit. So there you go. That's what we're watching. 2 or 3 days sitting over there. That's a long time. Shear tendency, right now, currently, not that bad, really. If you look at it, it's blue dotted lines, which means shear's going down in the area. So it doesn't have like the worst conditions to be working with right now. We got an upper level high over it. That's these pink lines. So sometimes they help ventilate systems and help them organize. So nobody's talking about this. So again, I'm just throwing out there what I'm seeing. Models aren't seeing this. Sometimes we got to just watch tropics in real time. But, the upper level pink lines here is an upper level high. Kind of giving it good ventilation, good, So, anyway, that's what we're watching. Let's go right into the models, and I'm going to show you some more stuff. All right, let's do that. This is all official stuff. We're going to show you all the models. We're going to Tropical Tidbits. I want to show you all the latest, greatest models. The GFS came around, did a complete 180 and went to 970 Cat 2 hurricane in the Panhandle. Remember what the GFS did with Ian? So we're not. Don't. My professional opinion is don't put any stock in the GFS. I have not seen anything in a year and a half now that makes the GFS reputable at all. The one thing I do different than most Mets is we do these lives every day. I watch models like a hawk. Some still reference the GFS, and I don't know why. It's like if you bet on the same horse and it finishes last every race, eventually you're going to stop betting on the horse. All right, so here's what the Euro's doing. This is kind of tricking me out a little bit. So the Euro, this is tropicaltidbits.com, by the way, but the Euro just hangs out our little area here off the tip of the Yucatan. It's not the most flat area, but it's not mountainous like Hispaniola is. I'm going to show you some moisture maps. There's a lot of moisture down there. There's not a lot of dry air right now, so there's going to be moisture, and there's a lot of ocean heat content. It's not going to run out of fuel. But the Euro tomorrow through Sunday just sits there. What I'm saying is we know the steering currents are weak. There's an approaching front next week that classic. It's what exactly happened with Ian. The GFS totally missed it. But we have a front coming down. Fronts pull systems up and they go northeast. That's a classic Florida late season system. But the GFS slides around. It is over land, which is going to limit development. But sometimes I'm telling you, sometimes storms will make a new center and trick things. So if this thing slides a little to the east and absorbs all that warm water, when it decides to do its little exit to the north, then the stronger it is over the Yucatan, the stronger it's going to be for everybody that gets impacted. So the Euro is not showing it do anything for like 2 days, just hanging out. Like, this is Monday morning. So for 2 days, man, it's not going to move. And that's just tricking my brain out. So then the front comes down first part of the week, and it pulls it up, and then it starts to organize. And that has been the track right along the East Coast. And by Friday morning, it's off the coast. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Florida. Maybe a little bit of Tuesday, but pretty much Wednesday into Thursday, some for the East Coast, and pretty much by Thursday night, Friday, it's gone. But that's Franklin over here, by the way. So that's what we got. And, zooming in a little closer here on the winds, we have not seen much change on the thinking on the Euro. These are 10 meter winds. So, as always, tropical systems have a lot of winds to the east side, and that's where we have the problem with surge, waves, storms, tornadoes, and you're going to have all that. This thing's going to whip around. We're going to get all this wind and rains are going to be impacting a lot of the peninsula before this thing even starts to turn. Pressure, the latest Euro is 993. That's borderline hurricane, borderline strong tropical storm. It all depends on what the hurricane hunters find. But there's the latest track. And then same thing as this morning, that pressure looks like it's going to deepen or at least maintain itself over the Gulf Stream. So that means that the Euro is showing things start going downhill late Tuesday night. This is Tuesday night with a potential landfall Wednesday morning. And those effects are going to spread to now northern Florida, Georgia. We're going to start to see these winds now coming in around our system and start really impacting to the right side of the center as it exits on the Atlantic side. So that means everybody's watching across the coast here. So we got a phenomenon on Tuesday called the supermoon. It's a blue moon and one of the biggest moons of the year. That video that I showed early on was Tropical Storm Eta back in 2020. Most amazing storm for me, the most amazing story for me to tell about tropics, because it passed 60 miles outside of Tampa Bay, and we had hundreds of homes flooded. I know I talked about it this morning, but I'm seeing almost the same similarities that we saw with Eta if this thing continues on this track north of Tampa Bay. So if you flooded during Eta, or even flooded during Debbie, you know, we're going to see winds pushing into the bay with a very high tide because of that supermoon. So whatever the surge is, you add another 2 feet because of the moon. That's huge. We're pretty flat here in the Bay Area, and that's proven fact. These big new moons, full moons, and then you add the blue moon. I think you could probably get blue moon at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. All right, so there you go. Some other models. We're not going to show the GFS. I don't want to scare people in Panhandle yet, but it's, I guess, we should at least, I'll show the ensembles. Same thing goes this morning. Maybe not even that far over. Pretty much that's the trend right now. Maybe Tampa Bay. Nothing's changed from this morning. So yeah, parts of the Panhandle definitely should be watching. So yeah, I just meant I don't want to show the GFS because it's scary. I'll just show the GFS. I gotta show you that. So the GFS, deeper, and it develops it. The 18Z came down a little bit, and it went back east a little bit. So here's the latest 18Z, 983 though. That's definitely Category 1. Intensifying on approach. And this would be Wednesday morning. That's the latest GFS before it does that turn. Remember, the GFS had a west bias last year, so, just showing you that. I don't see any reason to say that's more probable than more to the east, and I'll show you why here in a second. The latest Canadian, now we're getting to the point with the Canadian track. The Canadian has never been really good with tracks, but you can get the same idea. It's showing the Panhandle, so yeah, but the Euro blend is still to the east a little bit, and there's your East Coast impacts. That's going to bring a lot of storms, but again, it's gone by Friday. The latest UK was down in Tampa Bay. The latest Icon, Tampa Bay, 996. Icon's not bad. Track's not the greatest either, but there's your Icon. Later Tuesday and Wednesday, 996. So that, and 989. So, across the state, we're going to see not a lot of reduction. This thing might even get stronger once it kind of merges with that frontal line. We see that a lot. All right, so there you go. Everything's cut and dry, man, to me. The big question is going to be temporarily this weekend, what does it do down there? Does it not do anything? Because if it exits at 1,005, 1,006 pressure, which the Euro is showing, then it's on par to be a strong tropical storm or weak hurricane. But the water temperature is 4 or 5 degrees above normal. There's a lot of unknowns. I don't think the shear looks that bad. And there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. And we got the MJO, which nobody's talking about. Not one person's brought up the MJO that I can see anywhere. That MJO in years past has enabled storms to form where they normally don't. So, I'm just saying, we need to watch the next 2 days and see if this thing, because none of these are really showing a classical sheared system that we've seen in the past, which I was talking to my buddy Austin. If you're watching, you know what I'm talking about. In years past, you would see a lot of this action way off to the east and almost dry here. So we're just not seeing a really strong indication of shear to me. I might be wrong, but I'm seeing not as much shear as we normally would see, especially with the GFS. I mean, GFS is showing a little window of opportunity where it's trying to develop it even more. And even the Euro, not really showing much shear at all. So, I don't know, man. Everybody's like a robot, We all end up saying the same thing. Well, it's going to have a lot of shear and it's not going to do anything. Or, Florence is going to be a fish storm. That's what everybody said, right? So you never say never in the tropics. Diehards know what I talk about the heat. So during Irma, during Ian, I felt an intense heat up here in Tampa Bay like I've never felt ever. I was leaving Mom and Dad's the day after coffee. I brought it up to my dad. I said, this feels pretty stagnant, this heat. So we'll see about that. I've talked about that heat in the past. If you know what I'm talking about, we brought it up during Ian, and a lot of folks brought it up too. So, but we're not taking our eye off of this. I don't like the comments. It's only going to be because nobody knows. But this is the Euro. Even the Euro. A lot of rain. There's going to be a lot of storms. We get tornadoes with this kind of setup. We got extremely warm Gulf waters, warmer than normal. So we're going to have to see some strong squalls coming in off of that Gulf of Mexico. And then when it exits, we're going to have the same repeat pattern along the East Coast, depending on where this thing exits at. Some of the latest rain maps are showing a big swath of rain. Anything in purple's 2-3 inches plus, and we're already starting to see pockets of 6, 7, 8 inches possible. So wherever this thing decides to go, you're going to get a lot of rain. And the West Coast, Florida, definitely. Seeing 4 or 5 inches of rain popping up here, some of these models already. And usually rain models start out under aggressive. So, the good news is this rain here is the frontal line. You can see the frontal line on Tuesday, and then the additional rain there as our tropical system goes by. But, be a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, looking at things, like, let's go back to tropical tidbits here. I'm going to show you some ensembles here in a second, but, we looking at like moisture, I know humidity is a big thing. A lot of them look at 700, 300 relative humidity. It's showing a lot of moisture. There might be some dry air on the west side, maybe, but we're seeing a lot of moisture to work with as this thing goes north and actually gets a little thicker. The precipitable water map really shows up the moisture, which indicates a lot of rain and fuel to try to get going if this thing decides to get going. Let me show you the latest. Couple things I'll show you on this one. We're going to look at precipitable water, and purple is a lot of moisture in the air, and you can just see it merging with that frontal line and bringing even more moisture. Blue is like incredible moisture content on the water precipitable map. So that's just showing you some of this blues are touching the coast. So we're going to see a lot of rain Tuesday, Wednesday. And then it's going to bring coastal rains, Georgia, along the Carolinas. You'll see it. Heavy rain. The front coming down is very interesting to me. I don't particularly recall very many fronts coming down this part of summer, but we are. So this is what's lifted it. So Panhandle, for example. All right, so here's your front coming down. Big old blob of storms. That's our system. This would be Tuesday, Wednesday. There's your front coming down. That's what lifts it and turns it out of here. Just like that. Boom. See, that was a lot of storms over the years. These fronts lift tropical systems up, and we've had a blocking high pressure in the Gulf up till Harold. Now that blocking high pressure is gone, guess what? Now we have storms having the ability to move up into the atmosphere. So if, a couple things. Let's say the front's not that strong. The Euro does really good at reading upper air patterns. But if the front was a little weaker, a little slower, that would be where you would worry up in the Panhandle area. Because it doesn't look like it's going to go it doesn't look like it's going to go west. It could go straight due north and it's still part of Florida. But you got to trust the models and most of them. Like I said, and then let's go to the UK. UK did really good with the Ian track. That's why I want to bring it up. The UK has been pretty consistent on. Do we have the 12s? Yeah, we do. So here's the UK showing a, not a strong system, but the point of this is the steering maps and the steering currents. This would be late Tuesday, which is similar to the Icon. Good model, trustworthy. Euro, trustworthy, a little north of Tampa Bay, Big Bend a little bit. But again, this is really a bad scenario for Tampa Bay because of there is some shear, which means it's going to push a lot of stuff around towards the west central parts. Storms, nasty squall lines, feeder bands. All right, there's that. And then the Icon, like I said, these aren't the best tracking models. But the Icon is showing Tampa Bay. The Canadian, more up in the Panhandle. And what that might look like as far as winds go, well, we already showed the winds. I want to show you the water thing. So the other thing we're going to talk about is the water. All right, water. The Euro earlier, I haven't looked at 12Z yet. The Euro was predicting same. So here is Tuesday night. These are wave heights, but showing 32. It was maxed out at 32.5. Now it's 32.7, but still. 30-foot seas in the Gulf. That's serious waves for the Gulf of Mexico. We got a shallow shelf. Any waves that close to our coast are going to find a way around. I can't get my pointer to work. Go around it. Okay. So storm passes, winds blow these waves towards the shore, and that's how we had all that serious flooding during Eta. You add these waves to the super moon, you can see where and Pinellas County just sent out an alert about this to start preparing for potential flooding because of the moon on top of the tropics. So Pinellas County, props Pinellas County, they're already warning people this scenario. So this is one side of the storm here that might really be sneaky on some people is coastal impacts, no matter what the size of the storm is. And here's your coastal impacts for the East Coast. So as our system exits on Wednesday, we're going to start to see these waves. We could have some flooding into Jacksonville, St. John's. We've seen it before. These winds turn in. We could have a brief moment there that we could see some problems there, bubbling up there. Savannah and Brunswick, Charleston. So there's your waves off the coast. Again, this is all going to depend on track, but we're seeing a lot of and you can see the systems getting bigger, expanding as they normally do once they get off into the Gulf Stream. So definitely going to be a coastal event across the East Coast as this thing exits through Florida. Guaranteed. Right. Now, I'm sure I missed a bazillion comments about your local hometown, and I apologize for that. But that's just the way I do it. I like to ramble. That was 1 30-minute run-on sentence. How's it going, Miss Shelley? Dennis is your favorite guy, Ryan. He is the man. We're like big Enos and little Enos. He's the big dog. I'm the little guy. We share texts a lot. I like him. He and I are like really very much the same. It's amazing. We think alike. I love the guy. He loves weather too. Let me tell you something about Dennis. I am extremely impressed with Jim Cantori on the same reasoning that Jim Cantori wakes up at like 4 and he tweets every day. He loves weather. Like, I know that guy loves weather because he doesn't have to do what he does. Dennis does videos from his house, his car. He's been doing that forever. He doesn't have to do that. He gets paid either way. But he loves weather. I know he loves weather. He loves communicating to people. Man, he's awesome. So Tampa Bay is lucky to have him for sure. So the MJO is very interesting. Shelly's explaining it. And it's okay, guys. I don't mean to throw it out there and try to be like... Because we talk about it a lot. But the MJO is a real thing. And some years, it's all you hear about. I haven't heard about it this year. I don't know what's going on. Nobody's talking about the MJO. But anyway, the MJO is a phase that circles the globe. It's been proven that this energy helps raise thunderstorms. It's been proven. It enables thunderstorms to rise. And we're going to be in a enhanced phase the next 2 weeks, basically. When it's yellow, it means it promotes sinking air. And I talked about Elsa today. Elsa was a sinking MJO pattern, and it squashed Elsa. There's a lot of pieces to it, but bottom line, green is good for storms. So we're in a green. This is more vertical, like velocity maps and stuff. But this is the Caribbean. You know, if you're having a hard time kind of seeing it, this is Caribbean. You know, I'm trying to be a good guy today. My eye doctor, that's all green for the next 2 weeks. My eye doctor says, make sure you change your contacts every month. So I felt bad. I haven't changed my contacts in over a month. So I put new ones in today. These damn things are drier than my old ones. It's like, I got my drops out. If you're wondering why I'm blinking a lot, it's because I got like a dry eye contact. I'm like, it's supposed to be best when they're brand new, I thought. So yeah, listen, evacuations. Thank you, Barbara. I'm gonna try to read some comments now. Listen, all right. Difference. Let me back up to Michael. When some people claim that I was calling Michael, you know, we had a tremendous amount of model support that supported a bad hurricane. We don't have that now. So, like I was texting Tammy OSR here. I was like, man, you know, you want to say it looks like it's organized, and you want to say, oh my God, that water's hot. You want to say it's got 2 days down there. You know, I want to say the MJO is going to help thunderstorms, the ocean heat content. But, you know, you got to trust the models. And right now, there's no models showing a major hurricane. I'm going to show you the ensembles. Hurricane, yeah. But I just, you know, I got to be careful. I don't want to, you know, put a hype comment out there and people think. So the question, you know, we're going to see these cycles. They got these cycles. They go through daytime, nighttime. So we'll see convection pop. We'll see it go away. But the thing to watch on this convection is how persistent it is. And if this low gets ornery and doesn't go over here and stays here, then, you know, we might have to, you know, models might start inching up their intensity predictions because, you know, and there's ways to look at pressure. Levi's got it on his site. Surface charts are great. I have surface charts down here on the page. Go to ABC and buy a 12-pack and click every one of these links and you'll be an expert. And the time that you click the last link, you'll forget the first link that you click because I forget links all the time. But there is a surface chart. And you can zoom in on it and, kind of get an idea where the low's at and stuff. I have zoomed in ones too. There's links here. Where are my links? I have surface chart right here. Golf surfaces. So here's golf. Oh, what's that? Golf surface analysis right here. And you can click on, or not in the Gulf. How about Caribbean? There's your Caribbean surface. So this is updated, 1,010 millibars. So what we want to watch with this, the Euro is expecting it to hover around 1,008, 1,009, 10, 7, 6, whatever. So we'll keep an eye on the low here. And if the low starts to show tomorrow and we get persistent thunderstorms, you're probably going to hear a little bit more meteorologists talk about, we got to watch this a little bit more because, again, the shear does not look all that bad in the Gulf coming up. I know it's going to be there. We can go, I was going to show you, but we always use Levi's site. But here is some shear maps, but you go to 200, that's your jet stream level. And then we can do the combined 250, 850, but you can see a strong, we got signs of a jet coming across, typical of El Nino. And as our system lifts, it's got shear. I mean, obviously it's got west shear, but is it really that bad? I don't know. Greens, the higher up the colors, more shear you got. And then the combined low level, high level wind shear here. It's like beer here. 30. I mean, it is showing. It's just, and of course your big shear is up above with the cold front. So I don't know, man. I just hate long range predictions on shear maps. I just here, look at this one. I mean, it's hard. I mean, if you were to look at this, I mean, obviously, but look at Franklin. You might say, oh, look at all that shear, but look, it drops down to 965. It's still intensifying, 953. So it's better to look at upper level winds and see what kind of stuff's coming. But usually out of ahead of a front, I don't know. I did see a couple Mets today talking about it. There might be an opening of shear that isn't as bad as they thought. So we'll have to just. So the ensembles here on Weather Nerds. Caught my eye because what we're seeing here is a lot of the 51 members now. Now we have a couple in the Panhandle. But we have a lot of them in 970 range, 980 range. We didn't have that many this morning at the 12Z run, or 00Z. So starting to see a lot more Euro ensembles dipping pressures down. I mean, I'm looking at a 982. I see a 980. I see a couple of 970s, 978. Not all of them, but we'll got to keep watching the ensembles and see if we're starting to see more signs of stronger system possible. And that'll be when we got to worry about a little more stronger system. So, man, if, you don't want to single out any area at this point because the Icon in the UK are showing Tampa Bay area. We got some models showing, Peninsula or Panhandle with the majority of Euros going smack dab in between the two, and it hasn't moved much. So, for sure, man, everybody in Florida should be watching this. And the biggest concern for anybody in the Panhandle is it's going to be longer over water, and you can see this. The stronger ensembles are the ones that go deeper into the Gulf, giving it a little more time to develop. So my thing is, how strong is here determines on how strong it's going to be up here. If it's stronger down here, it's going to be stronger up here because they're all showing a strengthening system. So that's why I'm saying the most important thing is the next 2 days to see what happens down in the Yucatan. Because a stronger system here means we're going to have a lot stronger system up here to worry about. If it doesn't do anything and it starts off 1,005, then it won't have a lot of time to develop. Remember, it's still going to develop. It's still going to deepen as it passes along the coast up here. So nobody should be panicking right now. Nobody should be doing anything other than just thinking ahead. Like, okay, Tuesday night we can start seeing an approaching tropical system. What does that mean? If you live on the coast and you're in evacuation zones, start thinking now. Where are you going to go? What you're going to do with your pets? Pet medicine. This type of scenario, I don't. Florida's so tricky. People ask me, where do I go? I'm like, well, you don't know. Because if you go south and it turns, then we know what happens there. So history says with Ian, with Irma, and Charlie, these turn unexpectedly at the end when there's a front. And because Franklin is zooping all out of here, this is going to follow the track so that the turn is coming. So we're almost talking almost the exact same scenario as we did with Ian with a lot weaker system. So don't compare the two at this point. And we'll see if this thing shifts either direction overnight. Problem is with the GFS is when the NHC does have a cone, they'll probably use it, which will make the cone more west skewed if we're seeing a lot more ensemble support. But I'm telling you, even with Irma or Ian in the beginnings, we saw a lot of ensembles doing that, and I'm not seeing that with this. So farther south of Tampa goes, same thing as this morning. To me, this morning I drew a line here that's tip of the panhandle to Tampa. Maybe a little bit more now, maybe a little bit more, but that's just hasn't really changed much from this morning. The only thing that changed from this morning really is the ensembles have got a little deeper on the Euro, and I think it's looking a little bit more impressive on satellite. And now we have spaghetti models. We don't really have any main operational runs yet, so these are going to get caught up. So we have to wait a little bit longer before we get more runs. There's only 2 runs on the global models yet. And remember, most of your strongest action is always on the east side of these things. So wherever it decides to go, like we saw with Ian, to the left side doesn't get a lot. The west side. And if we do have shear, it'll really magnify the effects of the east side. But there you go. I don't know. Let's look at some comments, I guess. It's hot, right? Panhandle needs rain. We know that. What's up, Katie Haley? Cool, Mark. Thank you for that comment. Barracuda Bill's gas station. Troy Fox. Thanks. Hit the thumbs. I'm just not prepared enough to make a gut call. I'll be honest. My only gut call at this point is it's in an area that I just can't believe it's not going to try to organize in the next 2 days. I just can't. So that'll be my temporarily what to watch. We know the big full moon's coming, so Wednesday's going to be surge is going to be an issue no matter what. We had 3 to 5 foot of surge in Tampa Bay. It was a record surge in Tampa Bay back with her tropical storm Ada, and it was only a tropical storm 60 miles offshore. So again, it doesn't take a strong category storm to cause problems. That's for sure. So Derek, yeah, I don't know exactly how the water temperatures are into this because, you know, Harold ended up being an overachiever big time. It developed an eye at the end. Pressures was down in mid 990s. Originally, there wasn't even any rain in the forecast. I contribute a lot of that to the warm water. It was going 18 miles an hour. I mean, but it's still, I think it overachieved what the models even predicted. And a lot of that's to do with the water. Now, what I'm seeing different here is not as much dry air as we saw with Harold. Harold had a lot of dry air to the north and coming in from the backside. So we'll see future maps on that, but it's a little too far away to really go in all in. Because, man, trust me, if one thing I learned, these upper level wind patterns change so much. So, you know, we're just looking now at facts and what's going on right now. There's one more map I wanted to show. I can't remember now what it was. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, anyway. Lauderdale, very little. Very little. Hey, Shay Gibson. What's my buddy Shay? You're going to get some weather out of this, man. Now, there's a real meteorologist for you. Limpkins. You're talking real stuff. Limpkins. Scott Henson. Hey, good to see you. Thanks for watching over there. We're streaming live on Twitter, or X, Facebook, and YouTube. Oh, I know what I was going to look at. Perry Johnson. The GFS did run. It's showing pretty much what it did last time. So we have hurricane-specific models now in Tropical Tidbits. I don't know if they've run. Maybe 18C they did. This will be exciting. I haven't done these yet. Invest 93. Not yet. Okay, soon. So if you go to Tropical Tidbits, these are hurricane, and he's got the new HAFS model. Maybe that did it for Invest. Oh, Invest 93. All right. So the hurricane-specific models, you got HWRF, HAFSA, HAFSB, and I don't know, do we still have the HMON? HMON. So these are the 4 hurricane-specific models. They run every 6 hours. This one's going to become operational soon. This one just started running. But what I'm seeing, 1,001 pressure here. Not really organized yet. It's just the model's just running now. But what's interesting, it predicted 1,001. 1,000. It's having a hard time, but that's low pressure. See, the Euro's coming off of there when it decides to do its little exit on Monday. So Monday morning, this is the key with pressure. Pressure equates to strength. But when the Euro is expected to do liftoff on Monday afternoon here, it's only showing 1,006 pressure. So like I said, it's really, I'm really curious what the pressure is going to do here in the next 2 days. But anyway, that one's still running. B, has it run yet? These are just starting to run. No, 24 hours. So we gotta wait. We gotta wait another cycle. None of them are really run yet. So they're fixing to. They're barely running right now. So, but anyway, I know everybody wants to know their hometowns and the effects, but I could do it in a nutshell. I guess we can figure that out. Let me find a good map to draw on here. Let's go to Zoom Earth. I like Zoom Earth. I do not have coffee, but I have Mountain Dew. Then we'll do a rundown. So let me do a nutshell ending here. Boy, that thing sure does have a lot of convection, man. I never forget the look of Michael when it started. It had a very broad rotation. Ian had a very broad rotation. So we're going to watch this blob and just see, if it starts getting that broad rotation, we'll have to really watch it. So anyway, all right. In a nutshell, if you're just joining, a lot of bubbling of convection down here. We do have a center somewhere off the coast of Yucatan right now. Most of the models have it hanging out for 2 days in this general area. 2 days. So no one really knows what it's going to do. It's got land. It might not be over land. It might find a spot not going over land. No one knows. So in the short term, definitely watching that. We have an approaching front that eventually is going to lift our system to the north. And eventually our system is expected to turn. That's kind of in a nutshell. Definitely watching in this general red area as far as center goes. We have a system that is expected to have some wind shear, so wherever it goes, we should have higher impacts on the east side. We have extremely warm Gulf waters. We have a loop current. We have a loop eddy. We have all this potential fuel down there in the Caribbean right now. These are going to produce thunderstorms regardless of intensification. But here's the ocean heat content map. You know, a lot of heat in the ocean, the Gulf, Caribbean there to pull from. Current loop current shows a very long area here. So when our system does exit, it's going to have a lot of fuel, extra fuel to work on. That's why we have rapid intensification in the Gulf. Sonny says, hey, what's the water temps input the models? I believe every 6 hours data. Once they start sampling the atmosphere and the hurricane hunters start going out there, there's so much data they do. Their drop zones, and all that data gets fed into all the models. So over the years, I've heard the 00 suite's usually the best. Like the freshest data goes into the overnight models. So your overnight models run around midnight and then 2 o'clock for the Euro. So they have the freshest data. An angle like this, we're going to have a lot of water pushed here along the Florida West Coast to really worry about because of that supermoon. I showed the rain maps. We're showing heavy rain, several inches of rain as this thing exits. So we could see double-digit rain. And then we got to worry about the East Coast as our system slides by and definitely pushing water. As my buddy Shay knows, right? Shay does a lot of South Carolina work, but Charleston area, you know, places that normally flood, we're going to have storms brewing up off of the Gulf Stream there, along with those higher tides, and I know they're going to have issues. So, Laura wants to know effects to Florida Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, maybe Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday to Wednesday. Most every model showing either landfall later Tuesday or early Wednesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at that, man! Bubble, bubble, bubble. Hilton, it's like I said, Wednesday, Thursday across the East Coast there, you're just gonna have squall lines. Surge maps, Shelly just asked. Nothing yet. Surge maps will probably be coming out once we do have this coastal Sierra one. I don't think it's not really there yet, so we have to wait a little bit longer. Really hasn't kicked in yet. It might be showing a little bit, maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. Once we get an NHC track, things really start showing up on these maps. I don't know if this is current. I mean, it could be predicting surge now already. I don't know. I'd just wait right now. I don't know we don't really have an official storm yet. But this map will become a lot more useful once we get a system. Gulf shear, hey Mike, it's decreasing now, but it's expected to be, well, it's decreasing in the Caribbean currently, but when this is approaching that frontal line, it's supposed to increase middle week, Tuesday, Wednesday. So current winds now are kind of ideal. We got an upper level high over top. We got green showing low shear. This is where our system's at. Here's the Yucatan. So currently, I mean, it's actually got a pretty favorable environment right now. Shear tendency showing the decreasing shear around the Yucatan, green and blues. So, currently, it's got actually pretty decent conditions if it was going to try to do anything. But it takes time for these things to develop. They don't just happen. In fact, let's see our vorticity maps, if we have any 850 showing yet. Yeah, we do actually. Look at that. So that's your 850 spin, 500 spin, elongated a little bit, but it'll try. Like I said, I was a little surprised to see this 850 low level circulation kind of showing up. It's satellite derived, but that's very broad, but that's impressive. That's exactly where our little area is of convection that looks like it's got some spin to it right there. This is 850, even 700 showing a little bit. It's displaced a little bit, but before the sun goes down, on my side of town, that's the wrong storm. My side of town. Yeah, we get a little more daylight because it's farther west. So here's your Weather Nerd satellite, and you'll this is obviously the center. You can see it clear as day. Definitely getting some rotation right here. No lightning around it, no convection around it. So it's pulling in some dry air across the Yucatan, but we'll start to see if there's any pop up of convection around that center, and the yellow dots are lightning. So that'll be the spot to watch. And normally, what you'll start to see is bubbling of convection. You'll start seeing the whites and the purples, and you'll start seeing rounds of convection popping, and you don't really see it right now. You see a little one there, and then it gets squashed. So it takes a while for these atmosphere to stable a little bit. So you watch that spot right there tomorrow, and we'll see if we get any convection popping. Swoop, there it is. All right. So there you go. I don't know. I went through everything. All right. Yes, Dustin. Yep. The new. Hey, there's a question. I love it. We did check the icon. The icon is showing more like the UK. I'm not 100% a fan of the icon as tracking goes, but it's showing 996 south of Tampa Bay. That would put the winds farther south. Remember, heaviest action is right side here, and then when it exits, the heaviest action is now on the other side. It's kind of hard to figure out, but just figure counterclockwise. Things spin in. So that's the latest icon. Like I said, the Euro is by far one of the best models, and we're going to see if there's any change in track. The only big question mark is that front. If the front weakens and isn't as strong, that would allow our system to go a little bit more to the north. But every system that we've ever seen on this pattern with an approaching front has turned the last second. So that's just, always remember that. I don't know if there's anything else to look at. So if you're curious like I am, check out the hurricane specific models. These are your H-Wharf, which I think is a good intensity model. The HAFSA is the new model that's going to replace the H-Wharf, and then the HAFSB, I believe, is going to replace the H-Mon. So you got, and the parent's only the larger of the two. Well, we might have actually had a few more runs here. Whoops, I always click that thing. The parent's nice because you can. It's not even on the parent version yet. Hey, we gotta wait. We gotta wait along. We gotta wait. We're not gonna have any good modeling for a while until things start getting inputted in the computers. So, all right, man, and ma'am. Donna Adams, thank you. Oh, didn't know. I didn't even know Levi had his video out yet. Well, I did actually. I was on the phone. I started watching it. Thank you for telling me that. I retweeted it on X. So if you follow me on X, I retweeted Levi's video. I started watching it. I forgot I got a phone call. And then I got all flustered because it wasn't a good phone call. Something happened. Not personally or nothing. But I did fill up my truck. I filled up my 3 tanks of gas. We're going to be storm chasing this thing wherever it ends up going. I got my transmission cooler installed today. Jason, thank you for that. So everybody thank Jason Strong. He mailed me my transmission thermostat for my truck, and shouldn't have any issues anymore with the tranny getting hot. That's cool. There you go. All right. So tomorrow will be interesting. We'll look at overnight models. NHC's got a new update at 8. We'll see if they go to 90%. They probably will. I can't see why they wouldn't. Remember, they only issue the PTC, potential tropical cyclone, if they believe it's going to be affecting or becoming a storm in 5 days, if it's going to affect land. Tuesday, think about this, Tuesday. Today's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Ooh. Nothing's in my cup, Raymond. Drinking Mountain Dew, buddy. But later I will be drinking a little, my favorite place in the world. There you go. If you're in Tampa Bay or Ybor, they got the most coolest location in Ybor. So we should be getting a PTC, I would think, right? 5 days out could be affecting landfall. A PTC means it's not quite organized, but they think it's going to be organized, and it allows them to issue a cone. No, I think the PTCs only comes out when it's 48 hours away. Excuse me, it's not going to be the 5-day cone. It's only when 48 hours out with the watches and warnings. So I was wrong. The PTC would only come out if there was watches or warnings. So we gotta wait. So Jaden, yep, cone heads. You're welcome, Stacy Johnson. Thank you. We've been doing this since 2016. Coastal impacts, Kim Base. Yeah, I did talk a lot about that. We got a super moon, high tides, a lot of storms coming in off of the Gulf. We're going to have an increased, I believe we're going to have more storms than normal because of the MJO, enhanced thunderstorm activity, the hot water, and some shear. There's going to be a lot of stuff blowing in on that west coast of Florida. So we're going to have squally weather Tuesday, Wednesday, guaranteed. Tornadoes will spread inland. You look at this 850 map. 850 map shows your vorticity on a higher level, and you'll see what I'm talking about. That's the GFS. The Euro shows how these winds spread inland, and you know they don't always reach the surface, but it just shows you there's going to be a lot of instability in the atmosphere, and this sometimes promotes strong storms. So you'll be feeling this on both sides of the state. This thing goes here, very little on this side. Remember, right side gets everything on approach. When the storm exits, right side gets everything on exit. It's hard to understand, isn't it? But counterclockwise that way, counterclockwise that way. So when this thing exits, you won't get a lot on the East Coast anymore. Primarily it'll be on this side of the storm. Anyway, all right. So we will do one of these in the morning. All right. 9:19. There'll be a whole lot of great data in the morning. There'll be all new spaghetti models. We'll have all new 00Z models. A lot of great data overnight. Now that we have a center of circulation, we'll have a lot more data, a lot more confidence. Now the models, the 00Z models, are going to have this fresh data, and that helps in the future tracks. So cool beans. All right. So everybody have a great night. Thank you so much. We got a lot of new brew crewers. I do have an app. If you want the app, just Google Mike's Weather Page. It's on Apple and Google. I got some real simple links on there. I did update all the Invest 93 links. It's very simple. Right up top, Invest 93, you click on it and you get everything you could possibly want at your fingertips. So if you like simple buttons, and you can watch the Daily Brew on there too. So we always get a lot of new app people during storms. So that's it. So all right, we'll see everybody in the morning. Bye. Thanks, Shelley.